I am Hannah Bonham. This is Maeghan Hartley. It is Wednesday, October 11th, 2017 at 10:15 a.m. and we are at the Ruth Patrick Science Center. Good morning, Megan. How are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
I'm good. I'm going to start off with early life questions. So when and where were you born?
Augusta, Georgia, University Hospital, June 12, 1990.
Okay. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in North Augusta.
How was that?
I loved it. Small town, small community, you know everybody.
Okay.
So,
What are your parents' names?
Michelle Rohrbach and Tim Hartley.
Do you have any older or younger siblings?
I have an older brother and an adopted brother.
Okay. What are their names?
Justin Hartley and Andrew Wyckoff.
Are you close to them?
Justin, no. Andrew, yes.
Could you tell me about your childhood and your family?
Wasn't one of the easiest childhoods. Couple house fires, parents divorcing multiple times. Me and my father didn't have the best of relationships due to his alcohol problem and his temper. But for the most part, I made the best of it as I could.
Okay. What high school did you attend?
North Augusta.
Okay. Did you like it there?
Loved the school because of the people that was there, not so much school. So
Did you participate in any extracurricular activities?
I was in the drama club.
You were in drama. How was that?
Loved it.
What
Loved
made
being
you
on stage.
go in there?
I loved being on stage, had stage fright, but as soon as you get on stage and the lights hit you, it all goes away.
Okay. I'm going to go into your military service. What influenced your decision to enlist?
In all honesty, after high school, I took a year off, went to college. After that year, kind of got in with the wrong crowd and decided to start doing some things I shouldn't have done. Got into drugs really bad, and so it was either the military or I was going to end up dead or in jail. So I decided to change my life around.
So the military kind of saved your life?
Yeah.
Okay. Where did you do basic training?
Lackland, Texas, San Antonio.
Did you like it there?
I loved it.
You loved it. What was your typical day in training like?
Wake up 4:45, rush to get ready to be on the track for PT at 5 every day but Sunday. After that, we'd rush back to our rooms to shower, get breakfast, and then we'd spend most of the day doing classes depending on what week it was. After that, Sundays was the best, grilled cheese and Jesus. So we'd all go to church, have a good day, and they always served grilled cheeses, so that was the best part about that. Typically, Beast Week, which was like our 6th weekend of training, was more like a retro deployment type thing, living in cots and tents. Not fun waking up with a scorpion in your bed the next morning, but you make do. It was very challenging. When I went to basic, it was more of right after they stopped hitting you, so it was still a major mind game. They could still say a lot of stuff compared to what they can now. Now it's more like a summer camp. So they did everything they could to completely tear you down to nothing. But when they built you up, you knew that you deserved it and you were worth it.
So it helped discipline you
Yeah.
for your service. Okay. Would you say being a female affected how you were treated and trained?
Not so much in basic. Basic, everybody's kind of treated as equal. They don't really see sexes. Tech school, not really. But when I got to my first base, it was a little bit different just because I was security forces, so I was in a predominantly male career field. So the way that people would look at me and the way that they would think I could do my job was a little bit different.
Did that affect your, mindset?
A little bit. It completely changed my mindset on the military in general. Because I went in, I was excited, I was going to do a full 20, I was ready to go. All through basic, all through tech school, I got to my first base, and it just kind of went down from there. I had one flight chief that didn't care for me and was doing everything he could to try to get me kicked out. I finally had to take that to leadership, and he just completely ruined my aspect of everything of the military.
Well, afterwards, did you have another leader who just kind of helped or made it a little bit better?
I had 2 or 3 that were very influential, that made me realize that, being there was best for me. I had one point where I had a breakdown, and I went to my commander, and I pretty much told him, F you and everybody in this room, I want out. But thanks to those 3 people, they got me back on the right track and got me where I needed to be. I did have one that kind of made me falter because he sexually harassed and assaulted me. But other than that, the 3 that was there made sure that everything was taken care of after that.
How did you cope with it?
It was hard. I didn't really tell anybody. I started going to mental health just because I was struggling with it, but they helped me get through it without me having to go any other route. So.
What branch and unit did you serve in?
Air Force, Security Forces, Force Security Forces Squadron, and that's in Goldsboro, North Carolina.
What made you choose the Air Force?
I was going to go Marines, but Mom told me she would disown me. So I didn't go there. She told me not to go Army. It was a grunt. And my uncle told me that I wouldn't be able to handle being on a Navy ship with men for 6, 8, 12 months at a time. And I agreed, so.
Did you enjoy the Air Force?
The people.
The people. Well, the action.
The people, the experience, the traveling. That's something you'll never get to experience unless you do that. The bond that you have with people in the military is unbelievable. They really do become your family.
What rank did you reach?
E4 tested. I made E5, but got out before I could SO one.
How would you describe your commanding officers?
We had a lot of different commanding officers while I was in. The best one we had got screwed over, honestly. We had a chief master sergeant that ended up getting a DUI and ended up killing a 17-year-old kid in the process. And him and all our main leadership, our commander and everything, was at a Christmas party for the wing commander. And the wing commander was safe, and our commander got fired. But he was the best one that we had. After that, we ended up getting a new one. We had a substitute one for about 3 months. He was a good guy. But the new one we got, I never got to experience. He came in right before I left.
So that, did it influence you, the experience of him having to leave?
I mean, it sucked because he actually fought for us and for us to be able to have our family time and stuff when all the other commanders was just like, this is your job, this is what you signed up for, do what you gotta do. But he showed us that there was compassion still in the leadership process. So he kind of gave me a little bit more hope. When he left, I was like, yeah, I'm done.
Where all have you served?
I was only stationed in Goldsboro for the entire 6 years, but I've been overseas for a deployment. Went to Oman, traveled through Kandahar, Afghanistan, Germany, Kuwait, Qatar. So.
Did you have like a favorite, not necessarily favorite place, but one that you enjoyed the most being served?
Oman was fun.
Stationed at, excuse me.
I was at Oman for the longest. It was fun until right there at the end when we had some stuff happen. But other than that, I mean, it was a smaller deployment base. So the group that you had, like, you ended up becoming very tight-knit with them, and they made sure, that if you had a birthday or whatever, that they were there. If something was going on at home, they picked you up. They'd show up at your room if you didn't come out for a while because they'd get worried about you. The way that one was ran was probably my favorite.
What did your unit do, and what was your specific job?
There, my specific job was working in the armory, so I issued all the weapons and, kept track of all that. I pretty much ran it. I was not labeled the NCOIC, but the NCOIC basically was like, look, you're the first one here, you know what you're doing, do what you gotta do. So it was fun. I got to spend, the entire 8 months inside of a shack that had air conditioning, watching Netflix and making sure the weapons were okay, except for right there at the end when we had stuff happen. But other than that, I mean, I could have been out in the heat, so.
That's true. Excuse me. How did you cope being so far away from your family when you were deployed?
A lot of FaceTimes.
On FaceTimes.
When the internet went down, it wasn't fun.
Yeah. But they kind of kept you going through it. Has serving ever affected your family life? If yes, in what ways?
Honestly, yes. It didn't help the fact that me and my brother didn't have a relationship. It only made us separate more. My wife and I split for a little bit there because life got hard. I was always at work. She was always at home with the kid. So things get complicated with that. Things are better now, but I mean, there's certain ways. Military life's hard. It's hard for the person that serves, and it's hard for the family that's involved in it, the distance and everything. Just got to find a way to make it work.
How did Janice cope with it?
A lot of finding activities to do. She got a lot of hobbies. A lot of hobbies. Tried to keep herself busy. Worked a lot when she could. So.
What would you consider your best and worst experience while serving?
Best experience would probably be the get-togethers that we would have as a flight. The family camaraderie that we would have, the fun that we would have together, the laughs and the jokes, certain times on shift when we would run flight exercises and the jokes that we would get from that. Worst would probably be the sexual assault experiences from the flight chief and once when I was deployed. So,
concerning your best experience, who were you closest to in your unit?
My best friend Stoffaker. She's still my best friend to this day. She helped me through everything. When I was struggling with my PTSD, my depression, everything, she was there right beside my side. And then Sergeant Wright, which is now Sergeant Fox, she was one of my in-place supervisors, not on paper, but she pretty much was. She was awesome, always there to answer questions if I needed it, helped me with everything I needed. Sergeant Lockie, who ended up PCSing, he was one of the three. He literally picked me up from ground zero and put me back. It made me feel like I was the best person I could be. So.
Do you still keep in touch with some of them?
All three of them.
All three of them? That's awesome. When did you leave the military and why?
June 15th, June 14th, June 15th, 2017, was my last day. I was going to do the 420, but due to experiences that happened in the camaraderie and then finding out about health conditions that I had, I knew it was time for me to go. They kept making excuses to not medically retire me, and if I would have stayed in any longer, it only would have made everything worse.
Can you elaborate on the medical aspects?
I have impaired LV relaxation in my heart. I didn't find out until I got my medical records after I got processing. I have 3 herniated disc and degenerative disc disease. I have 2 bad knees that are probably going to need surgery because I get up there sprained every couple months. And then due to the PTSD and depression, it makes it hard to cope with certain things and dealing with certain aspects of the job. We carried guns and stuff. It wasn't the best. So.
Would you say the military kind of caused the medical issues, or is it genetic?
The heart condition I'm not sure of. I know that they diagnosed me in 2012, but I didn't find out about it until a couple months ago. I don't know if that really is because my papa, died of a heart failure, so I think that could more along the lines be genetic. I think the military helped bring it sooner. I'm only 27. The back was definitely due to the military carrying 80 plus pounds through deployments and deployment trainings and everything doesn't help, and having to wear 75 pounds of gear a day and all that like that probably military probably increased that, especially the PTSD from deployments and the depression from being away from the family and not being able to cope with certain things because of the way the military would treat you.
How do you deal with the PTSD and depression right now?
Most of the time, I learned a lot of great coping skills from a therapist that I had there. So I take that into effect. My son is a huge priority. He keeps me straight. If it wasn't for the fact that he was with me every day, I'd probably break down a lot more. But having him around keeps me from breaking down. It reminds me that I'm stronger and I have to be strong because I don't want him to see the struggles that I deal with.
How old is your son? What is his name? Excuse me.
Dawson, and he will be 2 in 19 days.
When did you adopt him?
We got him the day he was born, October 30th, 2015, and our adoption was final February 15th of 2016.
All right, shifting back, are you proud of your service for this country?
I am proud. I did something that most people couldn't do. The fact that, I struggled through the things only made me stronger, only made me better. if it wouldn't have been for the military, I mean, and there's no telling where I'd be right now. So I love the fact that I did what I did. There's still certain times that I kind of wish I was back. There's still certain songs that take me back, that make me feel like, man, I wish I was still doing that. There's just, I mean, it's different. It's nothing that, you could ever compare unless you've actually experienced it.
How does it feel to be thanked for your service?
That's a very hard question. Sometimes it's very annoying, and sometimes it's very appreciative. Most of the time, when you're just walking through a store and you have your uniform on and people are like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, and it's not something to be thanked. We're not doing it for the appreciation. We did it because that's what we wanted to do. It's what our heart called us to do, or, we did it because it's where we needed to be. But, I mean, most of the time, now, like, it's very appreciative knowing that, even though I'm not in the uniform anymore, people still appreciate what I did.
Yep.
So.
Now we're going to shift to education and your experience at USCA. When did you enroll at USCA?
May of 2017, so this year.
Did you qualify for the GI Bill?
I did.
And it helped?
Yes.
Okay. Why did you choose to attend here?
The vet center, mainly. I had the program that I was wanting to do, and I heard nothing but good things about the vet center and the support that they give, and it's close to home, and I was able to stay at home and, get everything settled and get back on my feet, so.
Have you attended any other colleges besides USCA?
Aiken Tech for 2 semesters after I got out of a year after I got out of high school, and then Wayne Community College while I was in the military.
And what was your major at the time? What classes were you taking?
Aiken Tech, I was doing radiology. I had basically just my general core classes. Wayne Community, I was working for medical office administration, so I was taking medical terminology and psychology classes and stuff like that.
Okay. What is your major now?
Exercise and sports science.
What do you plan on doing?
Right now, I'm just toss-up between physical therapy assistant and occupational therapist.
Okay. How would you describe the transition from military to college?
Very different.
Different?
Military is a very set standard. It's a very, disciplined aspect of life. You got to be here 15 minutes early, but then you got to be there that 15 minutes early, 15 minutes early. Like, the way that everything's ran in the military is completely different than, oh, I got class at 8, let me get up at this time and I'll make it when I make it. Like, the college is not as set as what military is. So it's different in trying to adjust to, oh, I own my life again. I can do what I want to do, and I don't have to answer to somebody. So.
Do you enjoy the freedom, or does it kind of give you anxiety not having that structure?
It varies. Some days, I'm like, yeah, I can do what I want to do. I can go wherever I want to go. I ain't got to fill out paperwork. And some days I'm just like, all right, I don't know where I need to be. Like, this isn't right. Like, something's going on. Like, it just depends. It's definitely an adjustment. So.
In your opinion, does it make a difference to be a veteran while on or going to this campus?
It doesn't really make a difference. I mean, everybody here has been wonderful. They treat you all the same.
So the VA Center, how has it really influenced your college experience?
They gave me the bill to come to school. Other than that, I've not really dealt with them. You're talking about the VA Center here? Oh, they're amazing. I can go to them for anything. They're there to talk. We've got, people that are going for their graduate degree in, psychology. So if I need somebody for the time being, I can go talk to them. They welcome you in like family.
Who are the individuals in the VA Center that you're certainly close to?
I talk to Stephanie a lot, Cheyenne a lot, Tristan a lot, definitely Emily. She's the psychology major. She's been phenomenal. And there's one other girl that I can't remember her name.
It's okay. Did your military experience affect your choice of degree?
I would say it did, and not really due to the fact of me serving. It's due to the fact of the medical conditions that I got. So I needed to find something that I could do that would not only, let me help others, but help myself in the long run.
Okay. Is there any other ways that the VA Center aided your transition to college?
They helped me step by step. They pretty much grabbed my hand and walked me through everything, or else I would have been clueless. So.
Your family. Okay. Are you married?
Yes.
Yeah, Janice. Excuse me. How long have y'all been married?
3 years in December.
3 years. Are y'all... How would you describe your relationship with Janice?
She's very supportive. She stays on my butt when I don't want to do schoolwork or if I don't want to go to school. She makes sure that she gets up and wakes me up. She leaves me notes every day to make sure that I stay motivated. I mean, she's been phenomenal. So.
For that time you were apart, how would you say you cope with it? Did you see other people?
I did, yes. But that was a coping mechanism for me. I didn't understand my worth or how I was, so having other people tell me all the time, kind of helped build my self-esteem back up. She didn't, but I mean, it was rough, I was sitting there still loving somebody and just praying to God that one day we'll be back together. So.
Yeah. Has Dawson, your son, brought y'all closer together?
He has. He does every day with little things that he'll do or the way he'll talk to us because he's starting to put his sentences together. He definitely is the glue to everything.
Did it affect him when you and Janice were apart?
It did. He kind of rebelled a little bit more. He didn't understand why he wasn't seeing me as often, and when he did get to see me, he was great for me, and he'd get back to her, and he'd be stuck up or whatever, and she wouldn't understand, and it's just because he wasn't understanding while we were apart. But he's been can't say the perfect angel since we've gotten back together, but he's a 2-year-old. He acts like a 2-year-old. So.
Okay. How did your family react when you first informed them of your decision to enlist?
Mom and Nana didn't want me to go. Dad was just kind of like, if that's what you want to do, then we would do it. Other than that, I talked to him and I explained to them what was going on. Maybe not in all detail about, what was going on in my life, but, that I needed to find a way to support myself and figure out who I am. Then they kind of understood it more, and then they were proud of me.
Who was the most supportive member of your family during your service and after?
Mom and Nana.
Okay. Will you, who are they? Who was your grandmother?
Jackie Roy. She supported me. She still has my military picture hanging up in the living room right next to her recliner. Mom, she wrote me letters pretty much every day while I was gone. She made sure, they both made sure that I knew every day that they were proud of me and they knew that I was going to do great things. So.
I know you mentioned your papa. Were you close to him?
I was very close to my papa. It sucks that, I wasn't able to be here before he passed. I lost a lot of great times that I could have had with him, but, he's another influence as to why I joined. He served in the Army, and so did my grandpa. They both served in the military, and, seeing what great guys that they grew up to be, what great men they grew up to be, kind of helped influence.
So he was really supportive?
Very supportive.
How would you describe your family life before, during, and after the military?
Before, we were all more close-knit, I guess. We all pretty much lived here. During, it brought us closer together. And then after, we're all still very close, but distance is still kind of an issue with Mom living in Pennsylvania and all that. But, we do what we can to make it work, so.
And during and after?
During, we stayed close. It just, making time to be able to see family was hard, so.
Concerning your future, what are your plans after earning your degree? I know you mentioned that you want to be some sort of therapist, but do you have, are you leaning one way rather than the other?
I was wanting to do physical therapy assistant, but the more that I'm in the degree program, the more I'm learning about the different aspects. I'm learning that due to my health conditions, I might not be able to do most of the stuff for a physical therapist. So I'm leaning more towards like occupational therapist, maybe even a cardiac rehabilitation. So.
What influenced you besides wanting to help people? Is it because of your condition why you want to become a therapist?
I've always wanted to do something medical field. I can't do a nurse. I don't like needles. I pass out, so I knew that I wanted to be medical field, and I didn't want to just go back to Aiken Tech and get a 2-year degree, so I wanted a 4-year degree. So I did a bunch of research about what my options were and found out that exercise and sports science has more opportunities within the actual degree to do multiple variety of things in the medical field. So I figured, doing that would be my best bet.
Do you have like a passion for like the respiratory system or anything specifically in the medical? Well, the medical anatomy.
My passion would probably have to be, everything on the inside of the body is amazing. Like the way that the heart works and the way that, your joints work or your different muscles and different things that you could do that, you would never expect that your body can understand. Like, everything about it is awesome to me.
So you say you've been bit by the medical bug?
Yeah.
Excuse me. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Hopefully owning a house, possibly another kid, settled in a job, and just living life and being happy.
Now, do you want to adopt another child from maybe another country or from here?
We're debating on adopting or doing in vitro, and Jane is actually carrying a child.
Oh, wow.
We're just debating on it. If we do that route, then she'll carry one, and then down the road I'll probably carry one. That way we both can experience it.
What made you go that route rather than just adopting?
The adoption process with our son was not an easy one. Maybe because it was through family, but it's very costly to deal with. Am I going to be able to get this child in the long run? Am I not? It's very emotional. There was a lot that went with it that we weren't ready for. We found out that she was having. We wanted us to take him all 2 months before he was born. So the hoops and hurdles that we had to jump through, and missing all the experience of every baby appointment, and missing hearing the heartbeat for the first time and all that, it makes you want to experience it for yourself.
Did you and Janice lean on each other during the adoption process?
We did. We had no other option. We didn't know whether it was going to happen or not, and we had to be ready for anything. So.
Did your service affect, how has your service affected how you are as a parent or as a wife?
Nana says that I have a military voice, and I can be very stern and very, not really rude and not really mean, but just very, I'm not sure the exact word, but
structured?
Very structured, but I feel like it's going to help me discipline my child when it comes time to it. He'll be better with manners and the way he acts. His whole well-being will be different because he'll have that discipline and structure than what he would if I wouldn't have joined.
How is your parenting style different than Janice's? Does she baby him a little bit?
Yes and no. She'll be the first one that when he falls, she'll be like, "Oh my God," and I'll be like, "Oh, cry it out." I definitely take the father role. She takes the mom role 100%. She's an awesome mom. She does everything she can for him. And she is, his 100% primary caregiver. I'm the fun one and the mean one. But I definitely take the father role. I'm there when something needs to be done, or if she's not there, I step up. But for the most part, she takes the ropes and goes with it. So.
Do you enjoy spending a lot more time with your son now that you're, not serving? What do you do?
He loves Oso, Special Agent Oso. I hate that show. So we have a TV in his room, which is sad. He's not even 2, but that keeps it on in there so we can have what we want in the living room. But most part he loves to go outside. So we'll go outside, we'll play with trucks, or we'll go in his room. He just got a toddler bed, so I like to hide in his toddler bed and scare him. I don't want him to be a wimp because he has 2 moms, so I do a lot of scaring. I'll hide somewhere, or I'll call him somewhere, and I'll jump out, But mostly we play with trucks, or he loves to pull out his books, and we'll read together. or we'll just lay there and watch TV together, or he'll go on these little rampants of stuff that you can't even understand in his baby gibberish, but we'll sit there and we'll have conversations together. I mean, just whatever makes him happy is what, that's what I'll do.
Now, as for you, what do you like doing in your free time?
Netflix binging.
What shows?
I love Shameless. Can't wait for the next season to come out. It's a very dirty show, but it's awesome. The Fosters. We just started The Good Doctor. I love The Good Doctor. But that's on ABC. Once Upon a Time. I mean, I like the criminal documentaries, so I just started the Netflix series, The Confession Tapes. That's pretty interesting. That can get your blood boiling. I mean, anything that we can find that's interesting. So.
Now that you're out of service, you and Janice have a lot more free time. So do you go on dates now? Do you enjoy each other's time, or are you both so busy?
She right now is not working, so she's, we spend a lot of time at home just because we're trying to save up money to buy a house. So Nana's out of town, so dates are kind of out of the question because we always have Dawson. So we spend most of our time just at home watching TV or, trying to find something to do at Dawson, taking them to the park or so.
Do you want to buy a house here or somewhere else?
North Augusta.
North Augusta.
Yep.
You love North Augusta?
I love North Augusta. I thought I hated it. I left, and I wanted nothing more but to get back to it.
So you want to be near family, close, so that way you can grow up with everyone. Awesome. If you could, would you return to the Air Force?
If I didn't have the health conditions that I had, yes. Just to continue with the camaraderie and the more experience, the traveling and stuff, but not because of the actual job.
Okay. How do you think you'd react if your son decided he wanted to join the military?
I mean, if that's what he wanted to do, I'd support him 100%. Because his experience wouldn't be the same as my experience.
How do you think Janice would react?
She wouldn't like it. She wouldn't like it at all. I believe she'd tell him no. But, I mean, all in all, if he wanted to go, I'd be right there behind him 100%.
You think the rest of your family, like your Nana and your mother, would support him as well?
I think they would. I mean, if that's what he wanted to do, yeah.
Okay, now the real question. Would you encourage him to go into the Air Force or another branch?
I still would say Air Force. Just because the Air Force has a ton of things that like better living situations, better dorms, maybe not better food. I've always been told the Army has better food, and that's true. But, I mean, there's so many more different opportunities within the Air Force.
Do you want... So you would do Air Force. I know you wanted to start Marines. You don't think you'd encourage him a little bit to go there?
No. No, not with everything, not with the way that the world's going.
Yeah.
Stick to the safer route.
Yeah. Okay, is there anything else that you'd like to add? Covered everything?
I think we did.
Well, thank you for your service, and thank you for coming, Megan.
Thank you.